What up, people? Happy Wednesday. About to say Saturday. Kamari Ellis here, the Finance Rebel Show. Y'all know every Wednesday we do Wealthy Wednesdays where I answer your questions live, whether it be about stocks, taxes, business, economics, whatever you want answered regarding money. We talk about it here. And so today I'm running a bit late, but just give me a second because I want to share this out with a couple of folks. Listen, I got into a bit of a fight, y'all. So I'm going to tell y'all all about it in a second. Just give me 1 second. I want to share this out to a couple of places so we can get the party started. Any questions you might have, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Any comments you might have, throw them in the chat. Anything that's going on, go ahead and throw it up. Today, I had planned on talking about the Robinhood IPO, but I didn't get a chance to read the S1. So maybe I'll pull the S1 up at some point and we can kind of scroll through it if time permits. But we'll see. We'll see how things go and where we all wind up at. But how's everybody doing? Make sure everybody checks in. I see Don Johnson is in the building. What's up, Don? How are you? Welcome. And I also see my man Jose is in the building. What's up, Jose? How y'all? So as everybody starts to come in, let me just share this out to a couple of places as we get the party started. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm seeing a lot of shenanigans happening on these social media streets now. It's sadly funny. It's sadly funny that so many people get so much attention on social, just in life in general, right? Because this actually happens often. P.T. Barnum didn't become P.T. Barnum just because, nobody knew about him. He marketed himself and then people took to him and they like what he was putting out there on the streets. And so very much today we have something very similar with a lot of our financial quote unquote experts that have been in business for 5 minutes and all of a sudden they're gurus on social media and they have followings of hundreds and thousands and sometimes tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people on the street. But a lot of times what they're peddling is pure trash. Sadly, and I know I talk about it. I try not to be dogmatic about it because some would say I'm hating. I'm not hating. My overall concern with it is the injury and harm that occurs because some people follow the advice of some of these folks. And it's really frustrating because many times, those same type folks wind up calling me up for either help or assistance. And so again, it's just crazy. It's crazy what folks are putting out up there. But give me a second, y'all, because like I said, I got into a bit of a rumble. So I gotta get reacclimated and share out everything. What money questions do you have as I share this out to a few places on social? And that's all kinds of jacked up. But guess what? It's going on anyway. But yeah, whatever comments, questions, concerns you got, go ahead and throw them in the chat. As we get ready to talk about whatever's going on this week. There's always something going on. And so we are here to talk about it and answer questions. But give me, oh man, I always hate this when I try to go live. I can't share where I would like to share, especially on my personal page. It always gives me problems. So let's see, try one more time. I don't know if I can get it, but it's all good. It's all good. Don, I see you put a post up there. I'll get to you in 1 second. Just give me a second, everybody. Give me 1 second. Oh, man. Let's see. What financial? I had to do it all over again. And I'm not even up on Instagram either. So give me 1 second. 1 second, un momento. Yeah, Don, I see you got a hot question right there. You got a hot one. There's a lot of scuttlebutt happening on these streets. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. To say the least. So I'll just share this out. And let's see. Yeah, I'll share this out. And then we'll get going up on Instagram. And we'll just have a good old time. We'll have a good old time. All right, that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. All right, so what questions we got, y'all? What y'all been paying attention to out on these streets? All right, let's go. All right, so again, my apologies for being super duper late. I'm a delay, but like I said, I got into a bit of a rumble. Got these two flies. They decided to jump me today. Somehow they got into my home domicile, and they have been waging war on me. And I have got one of those old yellow paper that I never open, and I keep getting these mailers, and I use it as my weapon of choice. I thought I assassinated both of them, but it looks like I failed. Assassination attempt aborted. And listen, we know Coinsell Pro is always watching. I am not talking about human beings. I'm talking about flies. All right. So I'm talking about flies. So listen, everybody, again, I'm Kamari Ellis. If you've never heard of me before, just now joining, I'm Kamari Ellis. This is the Finance Rebel Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m., we talk about money and I answer your money questions. So any questions you might have about taxes, stocks, investments, real estate, business, economics are all game. So go ahead and throw them on in the chat. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in and I will answer them. I haven't been stumped too many times. And guess what? If I get stumped, I can always go to the good old Googles for any kind of relief that I might need or any kind of help I might need. And guess what? While fighting those daggone flies, man, I forgot my water. Oh, man, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. All right. Excuse me, y'all. So Don Johnson says, you saw JT's pocket watching new video with him, 500. Dude gave me scammer vibes when I saw him on EYL. Hey, and now it looks like him and a few others are starting to have beef now. Hey, man, listen, here's the thing. What's up, TB? Give me 1 second. I'll get to your question. Here's the thing, y'all. The same stuff happens over and over and over again, right? Like literally. Like if anybody's ever watched A Raisin in the Sun, just going back in history, what happened to Walter's money? What happened to Walter's mom's money? Now that's an old classic. Sidney Poitier, right? I'm trying to remember who the mom was in the original. But in this one, Puffy, the latest one, Puffy was in there. He played Walter. And Claire Huxtable or Felicia Rashad played the mom, right? Won some money, got some money, and they wanted to move on the east side. And Walter got scammed. So the scams are real. They're out here. Raising the Sun, I believe, came out in like the 50s, right? So it was a great illustration of Black life, Black American life. And folks were scamming then. And guess what? It's 2021. And who's still getting scammed? black folks, by other black folks, which is really, really sad. I can't say if M500 is a scammer or not, right? I will say this, and this is an official covering of what he said, but I will say this: get rich quick does not work. It doesn't. I know a lot of us like get rich quick. It doesn't work. Or if it works, just like the doughboys of the 80s and 90s, it works for a really short period of time. And so my show is all about raising the financial IQs of folks in the black community from a long-term perspective, not from overnight, long-term. How can we better raise our IQ so we can have a better way of living, a better way of elevating our families, a better way of elevating our friends, right? And the people that are around us. What can we do from a long-term perspective? I'm not into the flash in the pan, short-term, get rich quick, just to get some materialistic things. And listen, I'm cool with everybody has some materialism. Everybody consumes something. But my goal, aim, and focus is never about materialism. It's about what can we do by creating wealth to create a better lifestyle for our families. Can we get more books for our children in schools? Every year, there's a fight with some public school district somewhere. What would happen if black folks had a better quality of life, higher standard of living, more money on average, everybody? Some of those issues would go away. Not all of them, but some of them. Some of them will go away. All right, so TB asked the question. Let me answer. Should I invest into a Roth IRA and my individual brokerage account because my 401k has no match? Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. So it's hard for me to say yes or no about that. And let me switch screens real quick. So typically I would say, yeah, you can invest into a Roth IRA. But here's the thing, do you need the tax deduction? Because with the 401k gives you investment option and it gives you a potential match from your employer, and it's a tax advantaged account. So the question is, do you need do you need tax breaks? And I don't know that question. But so when you say should I, right, I can't say should you. I can say it's something you should seriously consider though, right? Why do I like the Roth? I like the Roth because the Roth grows tax-free. You don't have to pull any money out. Excuse me. The Roth grows tax-free, and when it's time to pull money out, you don't have to pay any tax on it. JT, folks talking about you already. Welcome. Right? So when the Roth hits, when it's time to take money out of the Roth, you don't have any tax burden. However, with your 401k, and just follow me here for a minute, with your 401k usually moves its way over to an IRA at some point, right? And so at some point, you're going to have to take money out of that IRA. And when you take money out of the IRA, you're going to pay taxes on it, right? But again, I can't say yay or nay. I would say I think it's a great thing to think about. I think a Roth is very, very powerful, especially when compounded over time. All right, so JT Don Johnson just brought you up. So my rebels, you're sharing my rebels with your pocket watchers. And congratulations on approaching 15,000. And I guess I talk you up so much on the show, JT. People be like sending me texts and inbox like, yo, JT just talked about M500. And I just chuckle. Smile. I saw part of it. Hey, JT, I'm going to say this, though. I am a financial strategist, brother. I am a financial strategist. And one of the reasons why I label myself a financial strategist is because I help people create and deploy and execute financial strategies. Also, because I am an ex-financial advisor, or former portfolio manager, anytime I use those titles, I get in trouble. Like on one time, I wrote about the Mummers. If JT, I know you're from St. Louis, so I wrote about the Mummers. The Mummers is a racist white organization in Philadelphia that loves to get city of Philadelphia tax dollars and parade around in blackface. So I wrote an op-ed in the Philadelphia Inquirer, which is the leading paper here in the city. And I said that this organization should not get our tax dollars, black folks' tax dollars, to basically insult us and walk around with blackface. And so they got a hold of it. There's a long history with me and the Mummers too. I'll tell you about that later. But they got a hold of it and they said, this guy isn't even an investment advisor, because investment advisor was my title. It was investment and / tax advisor. I had forgotten that my investment advisory license had expired and I didn't even know. My fault. I take responsibility. And so I had to have the Inquirer take it down and just put tax advisor and all of that. So I then started to use financial strategist. So there is the same thing. There is a thing as a financial strategist. But in the context in which you were talking about, I had absolutely no problem with it. Absolutely no problem with it. and basically, he just outed me. He said, I got to support the executive producer of my last video. Well, I guess now you got to put me on a payroll, JT. Let's get it. All right, how are you? Claudia McNeil played Lena. Yes, thank you. Claudia McNeil played Lena's younger mama in the original Reason for the Sun. Yes. All right, so just going back to the analogy I just made, people were getting scammed back in the 50s and 40s when the original Raisin in the Sun was cast, right? And they're still getting scammed now. Or at the very least, they're getting bad information. And they're getting bad information from people who are not qualified, right? Because y'all know I talk a lot about being qualified. You got to be qualified to talk about some of these things. And sadly, we want something for quick. I know I'm jumping around again, but just to address the question fully and put a period on it, a lot of us want something quick. We want something fast. We all want to be fresh, flying, bold, but we don't want to put the time, work, effort, and sacrifice in to get it. And that's why so many people from the tulip crisis to current day to day always get caught up in these get-rich-quick schemes. It's human history. So Doing Ma says, would you use, oh, that's such a sinful word. What's wrong with you, Doing Ma? H&R Block, who you like best out here? I like me best out here. Kamari Ellis, the founder of the Philly tax team. By the way, I'm changing my name soon. Matter of fact, I'll let y'all know. In advance. It's happening already. I already filed paperwork. And just bear with me for a minute, I consider myself a steward. Anytime that I'm out here on these streets, whether it be on the mic, whether it be with the youth, in person, online, offline, it doesn't matter. I consider myself a steward. When I was trained in radio, I was always taught that I have a responsibility when I crack the mic. Now, they didn't use the words I use, but the word I use, I have a stewardship responsibility. Now, I'm not getting super biblical on anybody, right? But stewardship is one of my favorite words, because when you are a steward, it's almost like being a fiduciary, right? You're looking out for other folks before you look out for yourself. And you're always looking to do the best for others, right? And so I'm changing the name of my company from Philly Tax Team to the Tax Stewards. All right. So that's will be rolling out pretty soon. That will be rolling out pretty soon. I do a lot of work around tax, some around accounting. So TB just said he needs some help with accounting. I'm sure I could help you with that. And so second, I will put, and actually first, right? My man JT, and I'm gonna tell you why, right? I am a part of a bigger society of tax folks, right? And they are thorough as hell, like sharp, super sharp. But I, being a former financial advisor, didn't truly understand the power of tax until I became a financial advisor. Because again, I work with my father, right? I'm a little snotty nosed kid running around causing my dad problems, shooting rubber bands, and doing all kind of craziness at his office until he put me to work. And so I didn't get it then. I didn't appreciate it then. I was too young. I didn't get it then. I was around business owners and people who were looking to better themselves in the community, most of them Black, some white, a few Asian, right? But I got to see Black folks really going forward. And so, again, I've always kind of looked at my role, fast forward today, right? Fast forward today, and just all the journeys I've been through from being in tax, right? Because again, I started in tax, and I'm sorry I jumped around on y'all. But after tax, I went to Temple University, majored in finance, got my degree in finance. Just to be clear, I got to make sure I'm saying everything right, because I don't want JT to do a review video on me. Right, but got my degree in finance, went to work at several financial planning firms, a couple of insurance firms, and then I had the opportunity to become an actual portfolio manager, which is the guy who is buying and selling investments for client accounts. I wasn't a stockbroker, even though I did have my Series 7s. I was an institutional money manager. So when you think about Wall Street and you think about people buying and selling, that was me, right? So stockbrokers' main function is sales. People don't realize that, but it's really sales. My main function was to make investment decisions and execute those investment decisions. So it's a little different. But then full circle, I'm back being a tax advisor and enrolled agent. And oftentimes I am a financial strategist, depending on what hat I'm putting on to help people walk through, because I let go of my licenses. I don't want no problems. I don't want no smoke. FINRA and a few of the other alphabet boys like to restrict my speech. So I try to stay away from them, but I am forever grateful for the training that I've had from working with my dad, even to being a financial advisor, because the compliance training I got, which I hated, right? I absolutely hated compliance, was you just can't say any old thing out of your mouth. Because when you are a licensed professional, everything that you say, especially on air, is viewed as advertisement. Now, it's a pain in the ass. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. It really is. You got to submit certain things to get approval. For me, again, I feel like it's an infringement of my First Amendment right. But I also get it. I get why this happens. I get why, because again, so many people love to sue. So many people are out here getting scammed. When you look at folks getting scammed, just do a quick Google search of life insurance and elderly people, or life insurance or annuities with elderly people. I mean, sadly, they run a racket on a lot of our seniors and our elders in terms of scamming and getting people out of money. All right. And so part of my whole mission is when I sit here and when I'm out doing presentations, is to bring my whole self, my whole experience in everything I do. And so again, I look at myself as a steward. So I'm changing my business name from the Philly Tax Team to the Tax Stewards. All right, because that really represents who I aspire to be in every interaction that I'm working in, or even not working in, right? Even when I'm not being paid. Because I know I talked to y'all about working for free. I do help some people that are in need at times. I'm not going to be doing it as much, because sadly, when I try to help people, a lot of times they aren't thankful and they become a headache. But I be really wanting to help a lot of folks. But that's enough of that diatribe. But that's the news. That's the news, folks. All right, so Doing Ma says, I still need to file taxes. Try to do them myself, but got confused with paperwork because I worked in 2 different states. Okay, Doing Ma, I would love to help you. Just let me know. And I'm seeing some of my IG people starting to trickle in. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Starling David, LLR7, welcome. Corrine, 327, Gemini Poppy, how are you? Najee Grant, how are you? Hooked on Kim, hey Hooked on Kim, hey Kim. The Real Finderella, did I say that right? 4PB, how are you? Kazine, Deshaun, I hope I'm saying your name right. And Mad Dog Black 06. Welcome, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So again, you're all watching the Finance Rebel Show. What questions do y'all have tonight? Just let me know. And doing mine, just send me an email at Kamari. Let me see if I have anything up here so you can write it down. Or do this, just send me a text. Just send me a text at 215-974-0058. Again, 215-974-0058. Same for UTB if you need an accountant. I'm sure I can help. Even if I'm not the right accountant for you, I'm sure I can direct you in the right way. Because listen, a lot of the times, y'all throw around these big box companies. I don't like any of them. I don't like Deshaun, am I saying your name right? Can you do me a favor? You know what? I think I can do it. 215. Let me see. These big box companies, right? And I have some friends that have worked with them. A lot of great tax professionals and tax accountants have come through many of those big box shops. But many of those big box shops have terrible marketing policies and have terrible, terrible procedures. I'll just say that, right? Y'all see this every tax season. Every tax season, y'all see this where they start marketing how big your tax refund is, as if the bigger your tax refund, the better your tax return. Well, that ain't the case, folks. That simply ain't the case. And actually, I say to folks all the time, if you have to market your tax refund status or the ability to get a bigger tax refund, that tells me you're not really serious about helping people maximize their taxes. Because guess what? You cannot judge if a tax return is done properly, legally, by how big the tax refund is. Again, I'm going to say that again for folks. You cannot judge properly how well a tax return is done, the quality of a tax return, based upon the size of the tax refund. It's just not true. Because the thing is, if you do a tax return properly and legally and ethically, that might mean you have broken some laws. And a lot of times that happens. All right, so what questions do y'all have for me, y'all? What questions do you have for me? Let's talk about it. Or I've been noticing a trend. Y'all just want me to talk about whatever I want to talk about. And I'm cool with that too. But I would rather speak to the questions that are on your hearts and minds than just to talk about what I want to talk about. I get no enjoyment out of that. But if that's what it is, then that's what it shall be. So let's see what we got going on out here. And I mean, I kind of already did it, right? So while we're at it, let me pull up something real quick. Let's see. So what do y'all think about the new business name? Does it make sense to you? Do you get it? Do you understand it? Exclusively Blue, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, since JT wanted to talk about this, Let's look at this real quick. Makes sense. All right, good. Glad it makes sense. Sean asks, how do I know my tax bracket and tax rate? Your tax bracket and tax rate is all a function of how much money you made, how much taxable income you made. But you got to realize that, again, we live we live in a progressive tax system, which means is there's stair steps for each one of the tax brackets. So a lot of times people will run around and say, well, I'm in a 35% tax bracket. That is their highest tax bracket they're in. However, they paid, so let's say somebody made $50,000, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head, y'all. If they made $50,000, their first $10,000 is taxed at a different level. Then the next level from, let's say, 10,000 to, I don't know, 30,000 is taxed at another level. And then from 30,000 to 50,000 is taxed at a different level, right? So that is what you call the different tax brackets you step in through, right? Because you're kind of traveling through them. They're like steps as you go up the steps. So you don't like tax stewards, Jose? All right, that's fine. Yeah, and I'm definitely rebranding. It's a part of a bunch of other stuff. Deshaun, I got a whole video. I got several videos on YouTube about 1099 contractors, right? You're a self-employed person. I don't know if you are a contractor, being a carpenter or maybe a plumber, or you could be an Uber driver. You could be an electrician, right? I mean, it's all over the board depending on what you are. So give me an idea of what you do. And let's see, is that question? Okay, I thought that's just a question. And I could probably give you some things off the top. What do you do? All right, so let's look at this right here. Now, I want y'all to realize something, right? I tell y'all all the time that I don't believe in competition. You're an electrician. Wow. How did I guess that? And I don't know you, Deshaun. So I guess that's my clairvoyance. So, all right. So JT is rocking, right? So Real Account Reacts, M500, bank fraud. And from what I saw, it was a pretty good video. Great explanation. JT does a great job at it. And so JT has just about hit everybody from M500 to Boyce to Dr. Umar Johnson. Oh, I didn't see it. They went on Polite. They went on Brother Polite. So he said all the known characters. Ms. Bolden, how are you? Welcome. So JT been getting busy. Now JT's kind of in a lane. I can't even get that lane. I can reduce it though. All right, so let's see. All right, so Jose says he's not a fan of the new business name, but I'm certain you created a rebranding plan. Gotcha. Yep. All right, Jose says that's a 1099 filter. Should I put a portion of my earnings monthly to the side for taxes before the end of the business year? Absolutely. And Deshaun, I haven't forgotten about you. So give me 1 second. So yes, you absolutely should. Now, how much? I know everybody's gonna say, how much money should I put aside for my taxes when I am a 1099 employer? Well, excuse me, I hate 1099 employer, a 1099 contractor or a 1099 worker. When you are a 1099, you are not an employee. That drives me bonkers. But there's a couple of different rules of thumb. Some people say you should put aside 50% of all your money. So if you make $1,000 a week contracting, you should put aside 50% in savings to make sure you can cover your tax bill. That might be a little aggressive, but I'm from the school of better late than never, or Wow, what am I talking about, y'all? I'm from the school of I would rather be conservative and save more and make out later on and not need it for the tax bill than actually spend it and try to figure out how to catch up. So, yes, there's other people that say maybe a third of the money, but it depends. I have a contractor who does government work who owes a boatload of money to IRS debt because he didn't put aside any money for his taxes. So now he owns several hundred, that's right, hundreds, not hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS. And we have to try to figure that out. So one of my favorite things in working with taxes, doing tax representation, when I'm helping clients who have debts with the IRS, figure out how to get out of them and basically get a semblance of life. But Deshaun is an electrician. So what kind of expenses can he write off? So electrician, right off the bat, I'm going to say your tools, right? You might need wire cutters. You might need a tool for fishing wire. I'm not sure if you're a residential or commercial electrician, right? But either way, those are typical tools of the trade. Now, if you are traveling in between work sites that you're contracting at, that the travel can become a write-off. But I caution you to be careful. Some people will tell you that you can write off all your travel, and that is not true. Jeanette Wilson, how are you? Welcome. All right, so those are some of the things that you can do. If you have any, let's say, business meals with, let's say, a potential client, you can write that off. In 2021, you can write off 100% of business meals. Now, what's a business meal, y'all? This isn't a meal just to go out and take your boo thing or your loved one out and say y'all talking about business, but you're actually talking about business. All right. You should document all of your expenses, all of them. Okay. But again, meals, travel. Let's say there's a convention for electricians for, I don't know, to teach you how to do new code or how to wire stuff to code and how to drive the ground wire. I think you used to have to drive that thing either 3 feet or 6 feet down into the wire, to the ground. It was like a stake, an iron stake you had to drive in, or a metal stake. So if there's a new way of doing that, where they're teaching you at a convention, you get to write off your travel to the convention, and you get to write off your stay, and any of your other things you need while you're there. All right. But again, be careful, because I know a lot of the scammers out there are talking about, how do you have your business pay for your vacation? You don't. You absolutely do not have your business pay for your vacation. You can, however, go on a business trip and potentially talk about, or not, excuse me, not talk about, potentially have some leisure in between there, right? Nobody expects you to work 12 hours every day, right? You can go out and see the sights if you're in, let's say, I don't know, in Ghana somewhere. If you're in Egypt somewhere, if you're in South Africa somewhere, right? You can go do that. You can go see the sights. But the majority of your work should be for work, or majority of your travel should be for work. So it's not a vacation, right? I see people talk about that on social media all the time. And guess what? They're wrong, or either they're misinformed, or either they are flat out lying. Either of the three can potentially have you be in hot water with the IRS. Nobody wants to be in hot water with the IRS. Nobody got time for that, right? At least I don't think you want to, that's what I would think. All right. And that is success. Thanks for joining us. All right. So Deshaun has a follow-up question. What are some ways to save as much money as possible through taxes? Well, I just gave you some, but I'm going to tell you this. The best way, and the way that most young or new entrepreneurs always want to blow off, is bookkeeping. Yeah. I know it's boring. Yeah. I know it's not sexy. But guess what? That's where your real power is. Having great books, having great documentation. What is bookkeeping? Bookkeeping is tracking your financial transactions, recording your financial transactions, cataloging your financial transactions. And what are financial transactions? The money you made and the money you spent, the money you borrowed and the money you might have loaned, right? The money you used to buy an asset, the money you might have made when selling an asset. That's what bookkeeping is all about. It's about keeping track of all of your financial transactions. And guess what? That's probably the most looked over item of most business owners. New, old, young, doesn't matter. I see it all. Matter of fact, I picked up a new client today, in emergency service, because my a really, really good friend of mine, friend of the family, called and asked me to help somebody that was in need. And funny, they are actually in a QuickBooks training that I found out later. But they have miscategorized just about everything in their books. And so when I gave them my price, they didn't like it. I can't help that. It takes a lot of time. And, I have children to feed. And I'm just not at a point anymore where I'm willing to compromise my children's security for your enrichment. I think that's probably the best way to say it. I'm no longer in a position to compromise my children's security for your enrichment. Because people are like, yeah, I need help. But a lot of times, and I've witnessed this and I've done this, I've helped a lot of people. They ain't come back to help. Now, am I bitter about it? No. Because my mother told me a long time ago, when you help somebody and or give somebody money, you don't look for it back in return. You do it because that's what you choose to do, right? You don't do it because you're looking for a benefit. But if we're being fair, right, and we're talking about we're all human beings, a lot of people like to get over. Sadly, a lot of people like to get over. So, I don't have the time nor the luxury to do that anymore. All right. The Savvy Accountant's here. Hey. Sweet Mama Moods, how are you? Welcome. All right. So Deshaun, like that's the thing. Hopefully you wrote down those common write-offs, right? By the way, if you are in a union and you are in a business, right? You have a business, but you're also in a union, you can write off those dues also. So just think about that. Hopefully you wrote them down. You could also reach out to me. Like I said, you can text me at 215-974-0058. And I also have a bunch of YouTube videos talking about it. And to Jose, right? Just going back, part of the change is I'll be doing some other YouTube things as well. So it is an overall branding thing. So can contractors write off their personal insurance policies as an expense? Well, from the way you described it, Jose, right? You said personal. So if it's personal, no, you cannot write it off. Now, there are some caveats, right? Sometimes people have vehicles, and there's two ways to expense vehicles. You can expense vehicles with the actual expenses, right? What you spent on insurance, what you spent on gas, what you spent on repairs, tires, tolls, and parking, and you can do mileage. And so it just depends. So sometimes you might have to take a pro rata portion, meaning what is the business portion of it, the business portion of the expenses, and potentially write those off on taxes. Yes, sir. Keep your receipts along with bookkeeping. Yep. Listen, if you're really serious about audit proofing your books, you get a system like a QuickBooks or a Xero. I'm not promoting any of them, but you can take pictures on your cell phone of receipts. You can then merge them in or attach them to your QuickBooks or your Xero or any of your bookkeeping software, and then you'll have them with your transactions. So God forbid you're ever audited. By the way, the IRS is hiring more because they're tired of tax sheets. By the way, the IRS just is starting to introduce new taxpayer regulations. So things are changing. Probably the potential of you getting audited is going to increase. So if the likelihood of you getting audited is going to increase, when you get audited, they want to see, how did you spend this money? Can you substantiate? Basically, can you prove how you spent those dollars? That's what they want to know. That's what they want to know. And so it's important that you always have your documentation. Again, nobody talks about this because, this isn't business credit and getting $100,000 in business credit. Oh, that's sexy. Even though nobody has a business to pay the business credit back. Some folks are just kind of eluding that. You go out of business. Totally unethical, totally unethical. And who said it earlier? Somebody said it earlier. When you take out a loan and you don't intend to pay it back, it becomes a federal offense. Why does it become a federal offense? So this is where I begin to nerd out. It becomes a federal offense because banks are covered by federal protection most times, even some of the credit unions. So anytime you mess with a bank, any kind of financial institution, it's Fed time. So listen, y'all, most of my audience is Black. I'm going to assume all of my audience is Black. A lot of the logic that we have been exposed to and learned from and adopted is actually very destructive, right? There was a time, let's say pre-1965, when, a lot of people had to do what they had to do to get money. It's 2021 now, y'all. You can open businesses. You can do business in almost any time and place, right? Listen, I'm not naive though. Yes, sundown towns still exist on the books, but for the most part, we can do business and get money anywhere we want. And let's not think that the system miraculously is about fair and equality, about being fair and being equitable. Why take chances? So again, part of why, I'm changing back to tax stewards changing to tax stewards is because I always have to walk the straight and narrow. Always have, right? I'm not taking no chances. People are like, well, Kamari, can you give me these figures for this car loan? No, because they're not real. And guess what? I could go to jail too. I've talked about that several times. But now I want to make it more of a staple, right? Because it's real, y'all. We talk about doing these things, taking penitentiary chances for like no money. Like, what's the point? What's the point of it all? It makes absolutely no sense. Hi, son. Hello. You want to get on the mic? Want to say hello? You going to say hello? So my son likes to come in and do his chores and grab his the trash, because trash day is tomorrow.
So everybody just remember, according to the beautiful words of Dom from Fast and Furious, family is everything. You have to believe in family, and then your stock market's prices, they'll all fly through the roof.
All right, you did good, son, but then you lost me there, buddy. But listen, y'all, no need to take penitentiary chances. It's so many opportunities out here. You can get in the tax game like me. You can become an electrician like Deshaun. You can become a financial advisor like JT. Jose does a multitude of things: fashion apparel, design, financial literacy. Like, find what's yours and do it legally. That's all I got for y'all on that one, y'all. I'm not gonna preach. Miss Edith, how are you? Welcome. Miss Faith Joe, how are you? Mad Dog Black 06 says, I put my question in the question marks. Yeah, I saw a question in there and then it disappeared on me. I'll put it back in. I'll get to you right away. Birdman Trucking, how are you? Well, I wish you could screen this a little louder because a few people are telling people to take business loans and oops, I had to dissolve my business. Yeah, I've seen that. I'm just saying what others are saying on social media. Yep. People are saying take business loans and dissolve the business. Basically, they trying to run off with the bag. That's how the young folks say it, right? But it's illegal. Yep. So it in my opinion, y'all, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. And sadly, we are surrounded by a lot of ignorance, intentional and unintentional. And we have to be able to go through and do our own due diligence, meaning do your research. Okay. Because again, some of these folks out here is making it real easy for the alphabet boys to come pick up more black bodies and put us behind the counters, behind bars, excuse me. All right. Okay. Got that one. All right. Doing my says cable guy tried to get me to invest like Chris seen, but he himself had just lost 1K playing the options game listening to Chris. I lose my money on my own ignorance. Listen, there's the thing, y'all. There are financial tools, options, right? Stock options are a financial tool. Stocks are a financial tool, right? Even taxes, they're all tools to a certain extent. The question is, do you know how to use a tool? Right? There's a saying that if the only tool you have in your toolkit is a hammer, everything starts to look like nails. Well, there's some things that need to be hammered, right, and broken up and smashed. And there's some things that need to be screwed in. There's some things that need to be pried out. There's some things that need to be lightly tapped on, right? So my dad always taught me the right tool for the right job. But the way you look at it from social media now, and again, it's not just social media. It's not just young folks. It's human nature. It's human nature. But the way that they're saying it now is that it's all fair game a lot of times. And so again, you have to be careful. You got to vet the people you work with. And you got to know that they have a track record of being knowledgeable. Listen, and this isn't a brag, right? But I probably easily could call or list 100 people that would vouch for me. And I don't say that lightly. And I wouldn't do it often because I wouldn't want to waste anybody's time. But I can say that because I believe in doing business the right way. Now, I could also say there are a few people that are mad at me as well. Just being totally transparent. In business, I didn't get their taxes done in a timely fashion that they thought was right. But I always try to do right by them. Right? I always try to make them happy and communicate with them. And yes, there will be differences that will occur. But I have way more that I could call, right? And that will vouch for me. Vouch for me with money. So I'm going to say this. If I called 100 people and I asked them, I don't know, for $100, I would say, I'm not going to say 100% would give it to me. I'll say this. If they had it, they would give it to me. Like if they could afford it, they would give it to me. I would say I'm 100 for 100 on that, or I'm 10 for 10 with that. But let's say a good closing ratio would be 60%. That's still high, right? People still got families. They got money. And let's say it was a loan. They would trust me to pay that money back. And I would break my back to pay that money back if it came to it. Because as Scarface says in the famous movie, all I have in this world is my word. I'm leaving the other part out, but y'all get the point. Y'all get the point. Like, some people don't care about any of that. I do. All right, so Jose says everyone want to get rich quick instead of learning how to build wealth. That's a fact. That is a fact, because it takes work. It takes sacrifice. It takes banging your head up against the wall every now and again, right? Just because you're trying to figure something out, and that's okay. That's a part of it. That is a part of it. All right. That's a blog and a blog post, a book and a blog post. Yeah, it is. It is. I don't know if I would write that one now. Maybe I should. And thank you. I would tell my son you called him handsome. Chef Larry's in the building. How are you? Nevi saying sometimes I feel like I'm on a short brush, y'all, because I can't read some of these names. Docs, hey Kim, how are you? FH202, how are you? Welcome. All right, who has questions, y'all? Mad Dog, I'm looking for that other question. I'm waiting on you. Sir. Oh, there it is. Wait, what in the world? So I saw the alert. I clicked on it. I pushed on the button. Then it says no questions. So I saw it. Do me a favor, Mad Dog, just throw it in the comments. I'm sorry. Erica Echoes, how are you? I hope I'm saying your name right. But welcome. All right, so listen, y'all, you're watching the Finance Rebel Show. I am Kamari Ellis. If y'all don't know who I am, if you're brand new here, every Wednesday we are gathered here to talk about wealth, in particular to answer your questions. Actually, all my shows are about wealth in one way, shape, or form. It was funny. I didn't realize that until like months later. But today is Wealthy Wednesdays, where I answer your questions. And if I don't answer your questions, because if there are no questions, I'll just talk about what I want to talk about. But Erica, do you have any questions about money, about taxes, about business, about stocks? Feel free to throw them in. Anybody that just joined on Instagram, do the same. We are waiting on a question from Mad Dog 06. So go ahead and throw it in the comment. All right. Whoa. All right. What is the reasonable amount of time someone should wait to receive a completed tax return? So from who? Are we talking from the IRS? Because I thought that's what you were talking about at first. Are you talking about from the IRS, or are you talking about from your tax pro, your tax preparer? I'll answer both, just in case. But go ahead and let me know what side you were talking about. With the IRS, let's start with the IRS. They are way behind, right? Because of COVID. Everybody's behind because of COVID right now. IRS has had a lot of campuses closed, processing's closed, and a lot of people are working from home. A lot of the IRS agents are handling stuff from home. And some of them are getting back fast. 4PB, is that J? Yeah. My typical turnaround is about 3 to 5 days, typically. When you go to some of the big box shops, they'll sit down with you and they'll do it right there on the spot. I typically don't do that. But this tax season and last tax season are totally different. And so all my deliverable dates got blown out. Just being totally honest. Because of tax law changes. Hey DJ, congratulations. Rep on High Hills, how you doing? Congratulations on the baby. But all my deliverable dates got blown out. We had severe tax law changes. Stimulus blew things out. I know this new stimulus with the child care tax credit is going to be a doozy too. And again, there's a lot of hangups and a lot of back and forth that a lot of tax pros had to deal with. So it's been a trying 2 years for all of us. I know tax pros and accountants that they're done. They're retiring. They don't want to be bothered anymore because again, tax laws keep changing. There's absolutely no lead time, right? Because if you think about it, when Biden, go back to the previous administration with the Orange Monkey, he made a whole bunch of changes, and that changed up a lot of things. And then when you have Biden come in, I think on the first 2 days of his inauguration, around January 20th, January 21st, he made the change for the stimulus. And they made some few other changes and that whole COVID relief plan. So every time those things happen, I have to field calls. I have to answer them. And a lot of times people don't care if we've had time to really digest the information or not. It's perform. Answer. So, but I'll say this, 4PB. You should be able to have some kind of communication. Like I do a lot of my stuff through the portal. Your tax pro should be communicating with you and letting you know what's happening. So let me know if you have any more questions about that. And hey, Tiffany, how are you? Welcome. All right, Jose said something. He said, as China clamps down on tech companies listing in the U.S., does this give American tech companies a larger moat to build from? I'm not sure if I totally understand your question, so let's read it again. As China clamps down on tech companies listing, so okay, I guess you're talking about Chinese tech companies post or listing, right? So listing on a stock exchange, right? Listing on a stock exchange in America. Will that give tech companies a larger moat to build from? Yes and no. That's just on the American side, but what about on the China side? Right. So a lot of these Chinese companies are being barred from listing on the stock market exchanges to raise debt or raise money for their companies on the US side of things. But one of the things I've always thought a lot of US companies should do as it relates to China, because there's a lot of egregious things going on with IP law and things like that. A lot of stuff is being stolen. But why not just level the playing field or just equalize the playing field, make it par, right? So for a U.S. company to do business in China, they have to partner with a Chinese firm. Well, why don't you do the same thing in America and give Chinese companies the same thing? Make them partner with U.S. companies. Now, it's not equitable across the board, right? Because American companies still have the better technology, the better access to capital, the better legal markets or legal frameworks, right? That's one of the things that makes the United States so great, air quotes, is because of the legal system. China doesn't have the same thing. China does not have the same thing. All right. Brother Wayne, how are you? I think Mad Dog got mad at me or got frustrated. Are you still here? I was hoping to answer your question. Make sure you copy and paste it this time, though. All right. Okay. Text message sent, but why birthday? Because I use a service for my text messages. By the way, it is me texting right back. They ask because to make sure you're not a minor and that I'm not trying to do anything creepy. That's one reason. And then if you are on the text service, every now and again, I get a chime to say, no, Mad Dog, I can't see it. I'll get a chime to say, hey, it's your birthday. And I like to say happy birthday. Don't worry, none of your information will be shared. And so I will look. I don't always get a chance to look at I don't always get a chance to look at the text every day, but I try to look at it most days. So, all right, folks, what other questions you got? Y'all know I got to get to these vittles. Now, if y'all brand new and y'all ain't never talked to me before, and y'all don't know what vittles are food. My grandmother was from South Carolina, and she used to say vittles, and she used to call me a Geechee boy, which I didn't understand until I got older. Because I loved rice. She called me a Geechee boy because I loved rice. And then when you look and see the Gullah Geechee people or the Gullah people, they farmed a lot of rice, cooked a lot of rice, used a lot of rice. By the way, speaking of rice and the Gullah people, y'all all should go check out High on the Hog. It's not money related, but it is black related. And it talks about black food in the U.S., black food across the world, and how much we have in common, how much more we have in common than we have that separates us. So check that out. Check that out. All right. Mad Dog, where we at, bro? What's going on? Is Twitter glitching on us? Yeah, throw it in it. Wait a minute. Wait, did I miss it? Is it in the chat and I missed it? I'm looking. I don't see it. I don't see it. All right, I'm gonna hold out and hang out with you till you put it back in. Philly Demons, how are you? All right, got rid of my stock in Robinhood because I didn't want to pay $80 fee to have them transfer it to another brokerage account for me while I still charge it for close now. I'm not understanding the question. So you got rid of your Robinhood account, right? You didn't want to pay the $80. So do you still have stock there or you don't have stock there? And so you got rid of it because you didn't want to pay the transfer fee. So did you sell off all your holdings in the Robinhood account before you got it because you wanted to close it out? Close the run. Okay. So will you get charged? Well, no. I mean, but if there's no money in there, I wouldn't even worry about trying to close it down. Life for Danya, I believe that is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Welcome. T. Mitchell, how are you? Welcome. So, I mean, here's the thing. I hope you didn't sell out of your account just because you got a transfer. I don't know what was in the account, but if you sold out of the account, potentially you got a taxable event and you potentially lost any other gain, the long-term gains that you could have gotten over the lifetime of the investment. I don't know how long you planned on holding the investments. All right. So, doing mine, help me out. Clarify that for me. Help me out. All right, Mad Dog. I hope you're not writing the whole treatise on me. No Bible passages, just short and sweet. All right, anybody have any other conversations or any questions or any commentary? Again, I'm Kamari Ellis. If you're just joining, this is the Finance Rebel Show. This is our Wealthy Wednesday segment. And this Wealthy Wednesday segment, every week we come on 8 p.m.-ish. Like I said, I was rumbling two flies earlier. I thought I won, but they came back and got the best of me because they still here. I think my son opened the door when he took the trash out and they snuck in somehow. And they drive me crazy. But every Wednesday we do Wealthy Wednesdays where I answer your questions, tax questions, money questions, business questions. I don't do credit. I see my man Trey Snatches in the building. Trey Snatches, the credit guy. So check him out. Okay, Mad Dog, I can see your comment here, right? On the IG feed. So forget the question mark at the bottom. Just throw it in the comment. Hopefully you, but if you do it on YouTube, that's fine too. Because then everybody can see it, and it can also be available for replay as well. Yeah, so let me ask you a question. So I'm not picking on you doing mine, but listen, every opportunity is a learning opportunity, right? So you sold all this because you didn't want to pay the $80. Did you have more than $80 in taxable trades? Did you have more than $80 in taxable profits? I don't know the level of your account, but I still like to say, if you had more than $80 in, let's say, potential taxation or tax profits, I'm saying that wrong. If you had more than $80 in potential and potential capital gains tax from the sale of it, it might have been better just to pay the $80, right? So anytime we're doing any financial things, we have to look at the cost benefit analysis. That's one. And two, what your ROI is, right? All right. So, but I'm glad. Hopefully, you like TD Ameritrade better. So now you can just focus, and you ain't got to worry about Robinhood. All right. Erica asks, when do you think we'll be seeing our taxes? Depends on when you filed. Listen, there are tax returns from 2019 that have not been processed yet. Last time I saw upwards of 35 million that have not been processed from 2019. We are in 2020, in the 2020 tax return year. All right, my man Mad Dog is in the building. Hayden Wilshire. Hey, is this Hayden from the inbox I got, the DM I got from Alexis? Well, either way, welcome. But Erica, again, back to your question, when will we see our taxes? It really depends. It really depends. Hopefully you electronically filed. Okay, cool. Hopefully you're electronically filed. If you're electronically filed and you didn't have any problems, you could potentially get your return faster. However, if you didn't and you had like paper file, or if there was some errors with your taxes, it might take considerably longer. Now, I'm going to tell a lot of folks sometimes think that their taxes are processing, and a lot of times they are. However, sometimes your taxes may wind up in the errors department. And what does that mean? Errors department. These are tax returns that get flagged and they believe they have potential errors. Could have been a missing form. A lot of times, oh, that looked interesting. A lot of times, the healthcare forms, when people are still getting like the healthcare benefit tax credit, sometimes people forget to send those out, and they don't. They will flag that and say that it was an error. They will say it's an error. All right, so Aiden, what you got for me? What question did you have? Let's see. Something just popped up and grabbed my attention. I want to look at it real quick about Nancy Pelosi and investing. There were some people who talked about this earlier. Okay. Nancy Pelosi's husband just invested millions in 4 mega cap tech companies. So let's look at that real quick. All right. So Aiden says, I'm working on building wealth as a team. All right, my man. You're giving out all the stats. All right, so let me put this on the screen, y'all. My apologies. So Aiden's a teenager. Listen, everybody, welcome Aiden. Everybody telling me hello, welcome. He's a teen getting his wealth on, y'all. I am Jasmine O'Day. How are you? Mid-Atlantic, how are you? Where you been? How you been? All right, so Aiden asked, I'm working on building wealth as a teen. I have $500 in checking, $220 invested in ETFs, and $150 saved. What other steps can I take to build wealth from a young age? I mean, you're already on the road, brother. I would say is develop a skill. I don't care what skill, develop a skill. The better your skills are, the more rare your skills are, the more what's the word I'm looking for? The more solid your skills are, the more able you'll be able to earn money from a young age. Because the trick is, the more time you have to put money away and save, the more time you have to grow. And so the best time to save is for you now, Hayden. Hayden, how old are you? You said you're a teen. So I got to know, how old are you? And by the way, thanks for coming on. I wish we can get more teens on. The other thing I would say, Hayden, is don't get carried away with get rich quick stuff. I know a lot of times our young folks want to get rich quick. I get it. But it's better to get rich slowly and soundly with secure things. And that doesn't necessarily mean to go slow, right? I'm talking about being expedient. I'm talking about being efficient, if you understand what I mean. Don't just try to run after things to try to chase the latest fad. Again, figure out a good skill, figure out something that you really like, that you want to do. It could be putting things together. It could be drawing. It could be clothing. It could be gaming. By the way, y'all, let's not dog out young people for playing games, video games. There are people that make big money playing video games, y'all. So just look at it. All right, at least give it a shot. So again, I will be looking at what's the best way to develop a real skill. By the way, investing is a skill. So you can read and research and invest and spend time on it. And so you can start investing. I don't know if you have a job, right? But every $25 every time you get paid. And by the time you are, let's say, 30, because you're a teenager. So you at least got, I'm guessing, at least 11 years if you're 19, 12 years if you're 18, 13 years if you're 17, and you got all that money and all that time. Just let your money grow. Just let your money grow. So you could do a lot. You could do a lot. But I would say focus. And when I say focus, right, because I think some people get focus confused. I'm saying focus to say be serious about whatever it is you are endeavoring to do and focus on it. And don't try to chase everything. If you want to invest and that's what you want to do, focus on that. Stay locked in on that. If you want to become an artist, again, because I don't know, I'm working from the blind side here. But if you want to become an artist, figure out how to become the very best artist you can be. I don't care if that's a musical artist, a lyrical artist, and there's all kinds of art, right? It's all art. People that make memes actually are artists. That's art, right? So just be serious about it. Now, Jose chimed in, and I think this is good as well. Jose said, be consistent with your investments, but don't forget to invest in yourself. You have time on your side, and you're a team, right? But going back to focus, when I say focus, right, that doesn't mean you can never stop. Focus means you got to put a good amount of time in to see if it's something you're really serious about and to see if you can get a good yield out of it. Sometimes people will try something for a day or a week and like, it didn't work, right? But they didn't really give it a true, honest effort. They never really focused on it to see if it could really be their thing. But here's the thing. If it is a day, a week, or a month, and you find out it's not really your thing and you really tried it, then move on. You don't have to stay stuck on a thing either, right? And so one of the things, because sometimes I really hate adult advice to the youth because they always feel, and listen, we all kind of live vicariously through the youth. I think all of us do. When we see a young person that's about their business and they're respectable and they move a certain way. We all love that. But we also have to recognize and appreciate that they still have to go through their own journey and their own learning process. So to you, Hayden, I would also say, don't be afraid to try and don't be afraid to fail, right? Because every failure is a lesson. It's a lesson. Again, you know, some would say there are no failures. They're just lessons. So, you know, that's what I would say. Experiment, focus on the experiments while you're doing them. Figure out if you really like them. And when I say experiment, like try out different stuff. See if you like it. That's the experiment I'm talking about. If you really try it and really focus on it and you don't like it, move on. You ain't got to waste time on it. But I just say, give it a real try, though. Give it a real try. All right, Doing Miles says it was only a few companies. Still saving my stimulus. I'll pay capital gains with that. All right, Doing My got all the answers tonight, y'all. Doing My got all the answers tonight. All right, so Hayden, did you have any other questions for me? I'm not sure if that helped, but yes, DM me and we definitely can build and connect as well. It'll be my pleasure. First Class Mel, how are you? Fox Wade, how are you? Wave Lord 14, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, folks. Well, listen, I'm super appreciative of everybody that's been here. Again, this is the Finance Rebel Show. We are here every Wednesday for our Wealthy Wednesday segment. Do me a favor, go find the Finance Rebel Show, the podcast. Give it a listen. All you got to do is Google it, Finance Rebel Show, and leave me a rating, like, and review. And matter of fact, if you are part of the tech squad, I will send out a text to listen to it. Again, the text is the text number for me, and this is me who responds to these texts, not a computer, not some lady overseas. It's me. It's 215-974-0058. And again, I appreciate you all for being here with me every week. Y'all make this fun. Y'all make it funny. And we always have a good time. And I believe everybody always learns and gets something from these. All right. So I will see you next time. I will not be here Wednesday. I will not be here Saturday. I had a death in the family. 3 people died in my family last year from COVID or around COVID. It wasn't all COVID. And guess what? My family wants me to MC. Why they want me to MC, I have no idea. They think because I talk about money and I do radio occasionally, I guess they think I can MC. But I get to MC that. It'll be fun. It definitely will be fun. And I get to spend time with the family. So listen, y'all, as we close out, remember, to stay the course, don't get blinded by the flashy lights, right? Don't get blinded by the shiny objects. Stay the course and be great, y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Have a great one.